Welcome to Betting on Success, a podcast that dives into the future of gaming with a focus on cashless technology. Hosted by Mark Morton, aka Morty. From cashless innovations to incredible career stories, this is where gaming professionals stay ahead. Betting on Success is brought to you by your friends at Marker Tracks and Coin, leading the way in cashless gaming.
Hi, this is Mark Morton, and welcome to the newest edition of Betting on Success. Super excited today. One of the things I love about this podcast is the fact that I get to see the road traveled by some of the key difference makers in our industry. Today I have somebody that is not only a difference maker, but who I'm very proud to say has been a friend of mine for over 30 years.
30 years.
Scary thought. President of Resort Operations for MGM Resorts International, Steve Zanella. Steve?
Mark, glad to be here.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate it.
I can't believe it's been over 30 years.
30 years. 30
Crazy.
years. We still look good, though, pal. We're still looking okay. Well, at least one of us does, right?
One of us does.
Yeah,
I'll leave that up to the audience to decide whom.
All right, so now that we've established we've been around for a long time, tell me about Steve Zanella growing up. Some background.
Oh, that's a good way to start. So I grew up in a small town.
Okay.
Small town in Colorado, 5,500 people. Odd thing is the resorts that I work in, we have more than 5,500 people working at them.
Yes.
And we can fit more than double that in most of the resorts. So grew up in this small little town in Colorado, north of Aspen. So grew up right in the middle of the Rockies.
Okay.
And we were so protected there. Everybody knew everybody. It was like living in Mayberry.
Yeah.
Just going down and walking to school, walking to downtown. My parents owned a bakery. That's where I grew up, is in a bakery.
Yeah.
So this town was, during the summer, it was a swimming destination. It had the world's largest hot springs pool.
Wow. Okay.
And in the winter, it was a ski destination. So grew up in the tourism industry, and it's in my blood. So grew up. I graduated with a class of 99 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably 85 of them I grew up with from toddlers.
It's unbelievable.
It was an incredible childhood. And, when you're a kid, you don't really know what you have until you get older and you look back and go, man, as bad as we thought it was, that was awesome. We didn't have to worry about any craziness that was going on in the city, because it wasn't a city, it was a town.
Right.
Everybody knew everybody, like I said before. And the stuff, as we were growing up, we'd get in trouble a little bit.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd get away with stuff. No shot. No shot. You
Yeah.
come back when you're an adult and mom and dad would go, yeah, remember this? Go, you knew about that? So, but it was a great way to grow up. Great little town. And every year we go on spring break.
Yep.
And, my family didn't have a whole lot of money, so we all saved up, and we had one trip a year, and it was spring break. And we'd do a little journey to California. We'd leave Glenwood. Glenwood Springs is where I grew up. We'd leave Glenwood Springs and drive to Las Vegas. That was like a good halfway stopping point on our way to San Diego, to Anaheim for Disneyland. So all of that. So that was every year that's what we would do. Drive through, and then pretty soon we just started stopping in Vegas. But that's how I grew up, is pretty humble, simple background. Was able to hang out with my friends, go mountain climbing, rafting, tubing, skiing. So it was a great childhood.
So it was like growing up in Mayberry.
It was like growing up in Mayberry.
There you go. All right, so you're driving back and forth to Vegas, summer times. What made you decide on that as the next step in Steve Zanella's life? Why UNLV? Because I know you graduated from UNLV.
I went to UNLV. Yeah, I graduated a while ago.
Yeah.
More than 30 years. More than 30 years.
Yeah, more than 30 years ago.
Well, we'd go back and forth. So one thing, I'm a big video gamer.
Okay.
I love playing video games. I love playing pinball, arcade games, all that. I grew up, when I was growing up, I'd go to the arcade a lot. We always had, the Ataris or what have you. So I was always into playing video games. And Circus had the best video games, especially when you're coming from a town of 5,500 people to Circus.
They had electricity and whatnot.
They had, exactly. We didn't have to pedal a bike for electricity and all that. And they had hot and cold running water. But I love playing videos. So we'd always go and play video games. So at Circus, you had the mezzanine.
Yeah.
And so it was great that we'd stop there, go to the mezzanine, go to the big buffet. But I always was intrigued. So we were up walking around in the mezzanine playing Fast Nation, all the type of games, and then, of course, video games. But I would a lot of times sit up there, and, Circus has that way you can look into the casino.
Yeah.
I think that it's still that way. But I'd sit there and just watch the slot machines and just watch the gaming going on. And it was very intriguing to me. And then I go back and play my video games. But really, the industry was very interesting to me from early on, just watching and just seeing how people were like playing and having fun and having it exciting. And just watching my mom and dad, how they enjoyed going to the game. So I had my own gaming going upstairs with the videos, and they had their own stuff going downstairs.
So you graduated with a hotel management degree, is
Hotel.
that correct? And then you come to MGM as a mapper, right? Management
Associate Program. Yep.
Correct. So I want to talk, because we have a lot of young listeners on the show or to the show, and really there's so many people that have, I guess, achieved such great success that were part of that program. What's unique about it, and what impact did it have on you?
Well, the unique thing about it is when we choose people that go into MAP, it's the best of the best. And so you're bringing them in, you're bringing in the young talent, and they get to meet all the senior executives. They get to see how things go throughout the whole organization, not just one vertical, but all different verticals. And it really set me up for success. And that's what we do now, is set people up for success. You come in, you pick the best and the brightest, and you give them the platform to be able to perform, and give them the education, and you have the mentorship, because you have a lot of mentors when you're in MAP. People are watching out for you and making sure that you're successful and putting you in the right places to succeed. So that's the biggest piece, is choosing the best of the best and creating an environment that they can excel at.
So before we jump into your career, there's an individual that I told I would talk about today who's always by your side, your beautiful wife, Sandy.
Yes.
So tell me how she's influenced and impacted your career.
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I grew up with a belief that happiness is marrying your best friend.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah, it's great.
She supports me, and in our business, a lot of long hours, and you're around a lot of things that go on, and it needs to be a true partnership. And you can't have jealousy. You can't have people want to, a spouse, a significant other, worried about what you're doing, and being there supportive. Because when we what part of my career, and we'll go into that, is when we opened up Au Rivage, I was doing 100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And I was joking with her. I said, hey, all you do is sleep. Because when I would get up at 6 a.m, and yes, I used to get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't do that
Not
anymore.
Yeah.
She was sleeping.
Yeah.
And then when I came back home at midnight, she was sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was our little joke, is that, when you're opening a property, it's crazy. But she's always been supportive. She's whenever going through tough times, because regardless of how successful anybody is, you have high points and low points, and you're there to celebrate the highs and get through the lows. And she's just been awesome, and she's my best friend, and she keeps me going.
Yeah, she's awesome. She really is. Okay, so let's...
So Shelley.
I know. Thank you very much. That's a little prop for Shelley, too. Yeah.
And no, he didn't tell me to say that.
Okay. All right, your career. So you started MGM. I met you in, I think, 1995 or 1996, somewhere in there at the Mirage. You were in...
I was at the Mirage, so we had separate companies.
Yeah.
I was at the Mirage, and I started in 1991 in the Management Associate Program.
Okay.
I was a financial analyst.
Yeah.
And then helped create the financials in that for Treasure Island, because Treasure Island was what we refer to the A and B parking lots, and that's where Treasure Island came up. And so I was a financial analysis, and I went over into casino marketing in 1993.
Okay.
And we met each other in 95 when started getting into slots. So I was on the table game side, and I was the finance guy going into a marketing world to set up programs and that to look at productivity and how hosts were performing and what we can do to increase revenue and cut costs, typical finance type of a thing. And then when we met is when I was going into the slot side before I went down to Beau Rivage.
Yeah, so a really good friend of ours, Tom Miklich.
Yep.
Part of the greatest slot executive team ever assembled. We're going to talk about that in a second,
Okay.
too. So he talked...
Coined by you, though.
Yeah, coined by me, right. But he talked you into picking up roots and going to beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi. So tell me a little bit about that time.
Well, what was interesting is, I never had thought I was going to be a property president. That was never on my roadmap. And then as I was going through and learning more about the business, because remember, Mayberry.
Right.
Mayberry doesn't have big buildings.
Right.
Okay, so I didn't really, running a property and especially even into the position I'm in now, it was never on the roadmap. And then I started going, okay, maybe this is a possibility. One of my mentors, Bill Macbeth, I was working for him at the time. He goes, you know what? If you want to run a property, you need to learn how to run slots, and the best guy to learn slots from is Tom Miklich, and this is back in '96, '97. And it's like, okay, I knew nothing about slots,
right?
And some would argue I know nothing about it now, but it was a great opportunity. Tom being Tom and being the top guy in slots at the time. Him going down and being able to learn from the master, it was incredible. So he goes, with that whole setup, he said, I'm coming back in 2 years. So there's a possibility that, you do well and all that, that position's going to be open. So it was great to go down and learn slots. We had a great team and open a property. It was like a trifecta. It was incredible.
So you move back and you go to the MGM next, right?
From
Beau Rivage.
From Beau Rivage, came back as vice president of slots at the MGM.
Yeah. Something and now this is going to be filmed, so I'm never going to be able to live it down with you ever again. So I got
make sure you don't cut this. Okay,
yeah,
don't cut this part.
Yeah. So one thing I always thought about you when we dealt with each other at MGM, I knew you were smart. I'm sorry, I know. I knew you were strategic. I didn't know something until I went down and visited you after you've taken the job as GM or president of MGM Detroit. And that's what a great leader you are. I saw the way the people dealt with you and how you dealt with them. Tell me about that growth as that part of your career proceeded.
Well, I always had great people around me. And nobody gets anywhere alone, and I was taught early on that you got to treat people, not the golden rule. The
Right.
golden rule is a little outdated. It's treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
The platinum rule, treat people how they want to be treated, and take care of people and care about them, hear their story, and they'll walk through fire for you.
Yeah.
And just show that you care. And that's what the big piece of it was, showing that you care, elevating them. There's always ups and downs.
Yeah.
And elevating them when things are tough, and when things are going great, celebrating and really pushing that success. And one of the things people talk about is IQ and EQ, and you really have to flex on your EQ, the emotional intelligence, and meeting people where they are, not where you think they are, but where they are, and paying attention to body language, and breaking the barriers as far as going up and talking to people, because when you're in a senior level position, a lot of employees are they're reluctant to talk to you. And if you go up and break the barrier and show that you're approachable and that they can bring up anything and feel heard, it just means the world to them.
So let me ask you that, diving a little bit deeper into that. So today your role is more corporate focused.
Correct.
Do you miss the property environment?
Always miss the property. Always miss the property.
Yeah.
They have great teams, and in my current role as president of operations, I have all the regional properties reporting through me.
Yeah.
And I deal with the leadership there, and you got to be just very careful, because the presidents run their properties, and you don't want to be that corporate person that's jumping in. So, it's fun to go in and talk. I don't have as much interaction as being a property president because you're always out on the floor, or you should always be out on the floor talking to your team, talking whether it's to the line level, to the management teams, and just keeping that energy going and being visible and doing this thing called management by walking around.
Yeah.
Walk around, seeing everything and just hearing people's story.
Yeah. So in your current role today as president of resort operations, tell me a little bit about your vision and what you're hoping to achieve.
So a few different things. So on the regional side, we're getting there. It's about creating a master plan for all the properties.
Yeah.
And understanding each different market and what can we do in those markets via capital, via service, or other marketing applications to drive the value at each one of the properties. So the goal is to get everybody at the property thinking not only at the property level but strategic. Because when you're in the region, when you're at a regional property, it's a little bit different than in Vegas. Because in the regions, you cover everything. In Vegas, there's a lot of corporate support here, and corporate offices are here, so it's not you're not out on your own. In the regions, you're out on your own in a sense, but that property president or property GM is the face of MGM Resorts.
So one of your departments or side of the business you're overseeing is regarding the sports partnerships that MGMs have, or the events that happen in Vegas right now, which I think
the citywide ones like Super Bowl and F1.
That's what I want to talk to you about, right? For somebody that grew up, we had no sports here, right? I mean, we had the Rebels, and that was it.
Come on, that was it?
Come on. It was really good, but that was it. Today, it's just so different, right? You get the Raiders and the Knights and all that stuff. So tell me a little bit about that experience, because I find that very interesting.
Well, it's great that the city, the one great thing about the city is it always transforms. It always reinvents itself. I don't know if you remember back in the early 90s, we were going to be the family destination.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out so well because it kind of constrained things. And the city's just done an incredible job of reinventing itself. And now being the sports capital of the world is amazing. Starting out with the Golden Knights, and what a heck of a first season.
Unbelievable.
And then the Raiders, the Aces, the A's, hopefully a basketball team, just having all this come in, and then F1 being on the global stage with F1 and the Super Bowl. It's just an incredible jump for the city to be on that world stage and have all these sports teams. Because I remember when I was going to school and early on, they said there's no way a sports team will ever come to Vegas.
That's right.
Now we got quite a few of them.
Yeah. So for the kid that was growing up in Mayberry, with F1, you've got to see some phenomenal places, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So
I've been blessed. I've been blessed. It's been great to go see and learn about F1 and go to the different races around the world. It's been incredible.
Yeah. All right. So mentors, right? How long have you been with MGM? So you've been with them now almost 35 years, correct?
34 July.
Okay.
So I just had the 34th anniversary with MGM Resorts.
There you go. So tell me about, you mentioned a couple of your mentors, right? You mentioned Bill Macbeth. You talked about Tom. Who else impacted your career?
There's a lot.
Okay.
Bill Hornbuckle.
Yeah.
Corey Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make a list because I don't want to leave anybody out.
Right.
Because there's so many people that have an impact on your life and an impact on your career. And I had mentioned it a little bit before, is that you don't succeed on your own.
Right.
You have to have the ingredients. You have to have the knowledge. You have to have skill, but you have to have a lot of luck. And you have to have mentors and people that are watching out for you, because as a kid, early in your career, you don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
You don't know how to look at things, and you think you do, because when you come out of school, you know everything, and you're going to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
But you have to have people that are truth tellers and help you push your limits and push your boundaries and steer you into places that you would have never thought to go. So when being on the finance side, they go, you want to go into marketing. well, on the finance side, I'm not your typical finance person. So it was like marketing was a great exchange and going over into marketing. So that was good. Then going down and learning slots. And then while I was at MGM, entertainment, they put entertainment under me. So all these different things you had to learn, and you had to have people that believed in you and drove you. And you have the belief in yourself, but you need to have people believing in you and putting you in the right positions to succeed. Because if you don't, then you're not going to make the progress that you need to make, or that you want to make, I should say.
Yeah. So did any of those individuals, or is there a common thread amongst all those? Is there a couple traits that they have that makes them unique? I mean, someone like when somebody's successful, is there something common that each one of these guys share, or is there anything along those lines that you say, hey, it's consistency when you see somebody that's an achiever?
Truth telling.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable, willing to go out and put themselves on the line for whomever they're working with. Because when you sponsor somebody and push somebody forward, it's a reflection of you. And to do that, if you're not pushing people forward, if you're not doing that, then you're not growing the company. But as you do it, what those people do is a reflection on your beliefs and your values and your systems. So for somebody to take you under the wing and put you in the right places and say, here, young chap, you can go do this. That would be the common thread. All the different people have different personalities and help you look at things through a different lens, and that's what's important. Common thread, but different lenses and different ways to look at the business, look at situations, and you just grow from there.
And so if there's a young individual out there listening to us today, or whenever this thing is actually shown, sometime down the road, what advice would you give that young guy or gal in entering into the casino industry? So
go in with goals, and when you're getting in, understand that you control your career. And some people think that you should have a tunnel vision and go, I really want to be X. And I really think that you need to have a wider aperture and look at opportunities as they come, and know you're owning your career. Create those bonds with senior leaders, with management, with other people in different areas and different industries, because that's going to enrich you. And as you go through, look at different things. Like there's certain things that everybody wants to do, and there's some things that few people want to do. Don't go through what's the saying about going? There's a fork in the road, going down the path less traveled. Do that. When I went to Biloxi, that's exactly what that was. That path hadn't been traveled.
Right.
So when I first started with the company, I thought I was going to be a CFO. Never a president.
Right.
CFO. After 2 years, I'm out of finance.
Right.
So, and I was going through, I had my hotel degree enough to have a minor in finance, and I was taking classes so I could sit for the CPA exam. And then there was a big shift, went over into marketing, and if I wouldn't have made that shift, I wouldn't be where I am today. I might be a really good CFO. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you stay too focused and too targeted, you're going to miss other opportunities. When entertainment, I remember when I was given entertainment, they say, we need you to run entertainment. I go, I know nothing about entertainment. I go, well, go learn.
Yeah.
Go learn. And I think when you start getting comfortable as a leader and understanding the leadership roles, and especially when you start getting to a corporate level, it's not about doing, it's about vision, and it's about guiding and encouraging and creating that environment where people can really excel.
So I have this argument with my girls all the time.
I side with them.
I know. No, you're going to side with me on this one.
I don't know.
Okay, so 2014, you get your MBA from Michigan.
Uh-huh.
How impactful was that on your career?
That's an interesting question. I was already president of a property.
Yep.
I was running a property, and when I went back, it was like, you don't need to go back. You don't need to go back. I went back because I wanted to. I wanted to get those credentials, and not just to have credentials. It's something that when I got out of when I graduated from UNLV, I knew I was going to go back and get my master's degree.
Right.
And I didn't know when. So fast forward, what was that, 23 years?
Yeah.
Fast forward 23 years, then I went back to school and got my master's. So it did more for me personally just to have that accomplishment, and then really having that knowledge set to be able to go into situations. And one of the big things that you learn in a master's program is managing ambiguity.
Yeah.
Is that going into situations that you know nothing about and coming up with a program and a way to approach the situation that you're in to succeed.
So, it's so funny that you did it for you, right? Because when I think about you today, and then I think about you 30 years ago when I first met you, you're the same guy, right? Your ego, which I always think is the biggest killer in life, is your ego. It's never done that to you. The success has not impacted you in that way. Why was staying Steve Zanella, the guy from Mayberry, now to the guy that's running the largest gaming company in the world? You never changed. Why is that?
That was purposeful. I saw too many people as I was going through my career and coming up that lost sense of themselves.
Yeah.
And really, when you're a president of a property, you're running a property, a lot of what people are looking at is the position. So I never wanted to get caught up in, it's not about me. Now, maybe I could take that role and amplify it to help people and help them. I'm all about helping others to achieve their goals and to do what they want to do. But sometimes I saw it too many times where people really got caught up in that it was all about them and not about the people around them. And really, I stick to my core values, and I never drift from them at all. I never drift from them at all. And that's what you've got to do, because you can get consumed by success, and it could lead to failure.
So that's my last question for you. So when they think of Steve Zanella, either personally or professionally, how do you want people to think about you?
That's a good question. I want them to think that I lived, I worked, and played based upon my values, and brought people along with me, and didn't change. Didn't change in the sense of who I am internally or externally. Sometimes you get put in positions, you have to make tough decisions, but that's not who an individual is.
Yeah.
But it's how you approach that and how you handle things. And I'd want people to go, he watched out for people. And this sounds like an obituary.
No, it's not meant to be an although we're getting closer and closer. But anyway, Steve, I can't tell you, you should be very proud of what you've done.
Thanks.
And who you
Thanks,
are.
Mark.
And I want to really thank you for being on our show today. Make sure that you listen to us again next time. And thank you, Steve, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap for this episode of Betting on Success. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more insights from gaming industry leaders. We'll see you next time.